What I would recommend you do when you first go to the Philippines, researched or not, you should do these things. First thing is the base. You need a location that is where you want to be or where you want to end up. And ideally, you want to track somewhere down that's going to be cheap. The reason I say cheap is because you may want to move in a few months. If you talk to Graham, a friend of ours, I don't know how many times he's moved. There's probably about at least 6 times for various reasons, whether he wants a change or whatever. But the fact is, the cheaper your location, the more money you got in your budget. The next thing is, if you haven't got medical insurance, make sure you got a cash fund available. Motorcycle accidents are quite common. We actually lost a relative recently that was involved in an accident. But the fact is, don't assume it's not going to happen. And don't think, I'll spend all my money every month and it'll be okay, because something will go wrong. And hospitals like cash. Cash is the best cure. Well, sometimes the only cure. Well, it's the difference between having your leg hacked off and going into surgery. Let's put it that way. Depending on how much money you've got. I can't make it any more blunt than that, but I've seen a lot of people amputated, and if you talk to people, it's more to do with money rather than them not being able to save a leg. So you have been warned. Next thing I would say, if you're in a relationship, make sure it's 100%. Don't invest a lot of money early on. You need to make sure your partner's 100%. The most recent person to go to the Philippines asked for advice. We found out his online girlfriend is actually already a girlfriend of somebody else and may even have a child. Some of this information doesn't always come out in the first month, might even take a year. So be warned, take your time, keep control of your funds early on, but don't be unreasonable, just be cautious. Because I know why I'm normally on the other side of this, where I say, you know, if you're in marriage, you're in a marriage. But this is before marriage. This is a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship. But I know somebody has had their partner take the passport, sell the house, sell the car, strip everything financially out of them and left them stuck in the Philippines. Because by the time he could get enough money to buy his passport, the visas had already run up fees. Because they're fining him for not being able to pay his overstaying, etc., because his wife ran away with all the cash. So another important one is keep access to funds overseas. You can always Western Union. That's why I keep some money in the UK, even for emergencies. Early on, I even had Western Union money sent and just kept hold of it. When I say it's kept hold of it, it had numbers, it just wasn't collected until I needed it. It's a similar thing, it's just being cautious. Keep your visas up to date. That may sound a biggie, but the amount of people I know that are in serious problems now because their visas ran out 6 months, 12 months, 3 years ago. They had a relationship breakdown. Their ex-partner holds them to ransom because they know they can be deported. I don't know if the Philippines would deport them. I don't know if they want you to... I don't think they want to pay that money, you know, buying you a ticket. So I think they're more likely to work with you. Also, you can fix things in the Philippines. If you owe money in visas and you're out of date, get it sorted. Don't leave it. You can fix these things. Leaving it for 2-3 years, you're just building up a huge amount of money that you owe the Philippines government, where you can actually go early on and say, look, my wife's ran away with my passport and everything else. What do I need to do? And you can work something out with them. They're not unreasonable people. I have to admit, I find the immigration in the UK much more of a pain in the backside than the Philippines ever were. Philippines always were polite. Immigration, customs, you're always greeted with a smile. The UK, it seems like you're being interrogated by the Stasi or something. So just be nice. But but don't get behind on your visas. And if you do, fix it straight away. When you're looking at vehicles, don't buy one. Not for a period of time. It's nice to have a little scooter or a motorbike, and if you get one, don't buy Chinese. They fall apart in about 12 months, 18 months. I'll probably have a few people say, well, I've still got mine now, but generally they're pretty bad. Japanese ones are a bit more expensive, but you have to be aware that there's a risk of it being stolen. Personally, I like motorbikes. I also got Pajero as well, but I built up to that. When I first went, I bought a scooter for 13,000 pesos, and I still own that same little yellow scooter that was used for beer runs, because you could actually put bottles of beer in there where the under the seat. And I think my mother-in-law still uses it to go to the shops and stuff. So buy something cheap when you first get there. Find the lay of the land. Buy a super bike or something, and you might find somebody's disappeared with it in the middle of the night. Get a cheap scooter that nobody's really bothered about. Nobody touches it. And you don't have to sleep with one eye open, wondering if it's going to be there in the morning. But ultimately, I'd say keep your costs down. When you first go to the Philippines, keep your costs down. If you've got a new partner, she's going to be wanting to be a bit flash with the cash. Just say, I don't have that money. It's not practical, it's not good. And the reason it's not good is if you're flash with the cash, taking everybody out for dinner every week, when there's a family emergency, whose door do you think they'll come knocking? And they'll keep knocking it every time there's a problem. These problems are not yours. If you start making them yours, you'll have everybody's problem becoming yours. And rather than appreciate you helping, they will resent it when you can't afford to help them. So do not get tied into this. It's not your problem. Don't get involved. If you do something to help somebody, do it directly. I think last year, we paid for 3 births last year for different staff. Also had one of the kids was quite sick, so we helped them out with some of the medical care because they need an incubator and stuff. That stuff most people aren't even aware I do, and I do it on a regular basis. I'm always doing something. But I don't boast about it, I don't talk about it. The reason being is a personal thing. It's a choice. Nobody should turn around and say, Matt, my kid's sick, you pay for them. It should be a case of somebody saying to me, oh, do you know such and such is kid sick, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what's wrong with it, blah, blah, blah. And then they suddenly find the medical bill's being paid, and they don't know who paid it. So that's the sort of thing I would say is the way to do it. So you've got a nice little place, and got set up. Don't spend too much on creature comforts when you first get to the Philippines. I'd advise don't use air conditioning. Get used to fans. Fans only cost about 300 pesos a month to run. An air conditioning unit running 24/7. I mean, my bill gets up to 9,000 pesos a month. With 2 of them running, if I've got all 3 going, I can get up to 20,000 pesos a month just on air conditioning. Don't do it. I do it because we can afford to do it. We built our money up to that. But if you're running everything on savings, it means you have a nest egg building up for emergencies. It also means that you've got money to buy stuff that is worth buying. For example, getting married. You know, you might need a fund to get married. You may need a fund to buy a place, you know, with a partner. It's much easier if you keep your costs down at day one. If you get a partner in and are going out every night and everything else, that's what they're expecting every single week. And when they can't get the marriage in that they wanted, you might end up with a problem because it's all based on the assumption that you have the money. There's no assumption that your fun that you are going out every night is the same fun the wedding comes from. So they can't have both. You know, it's one or the other. Just don't overspend. And that's all I can say on it. I mean, if you're there only for a few months of the year, blow your money. You know, if you're there just to enjoy life, then go for it. But if you're there long term, I'd say be a bit more thrifty on the cash, build up your nest egg, and enjoy life. Travel around, do a lot more on the buses and stuff. Be wary on when you go on the buses though. They don't seem to slow down in the wet, and they can be pretty dangerous. Due to the construction method, you don't have to watch Philippines news to see how bad the buses are. I remember, I don't know how many, somewhere between 3 and 6 buses all had major crashes in the period of 3 months, a couple of years back, near where we are. All with fatalities, you know, like nearly entire buses wiped out, if not the whole bus wiped out, where it's gone off a cliff, hit a wall or something like that, because they do not drive safely. That's why I go on motorbike, although some people may say motorbike's a bit more dangerous. My motorbike's 220cc, which basically means I can outrun most things on the road, and with things like the buses now, I just let them go. I do not want to be entangled up in the front of one. So just enjoy life. I know that sounded a little bit negative on the last bit there, but the fact is, it's all about looking after yourself, looking after the people around you, looking after your finances. Okay, thanks for watching.